Good evening, good evening, good evening. Come into the Jaye Spot, replacing your G Spot every Thursday from 6 to 7, giving you real relationship talk, real relationship drama with the best night of your life. Your host Jay and Simply E, hold on, get ready to enter the Jaye Spot on IntellectualRadio.com.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the best night of your life. You have entered the Jaye Spot on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm your host, Jay, and this ray of sunshine, the queen with these color of royalty, my co-host partner in crime, Simply E. Hey, girl.
Hey, boo thing.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
You are rocking that purple colors of royalty.
It's Alzheimer's awareness, so
Is it? Turn it.
But I love purple anyway. That's my favorite color, so gotta rock
See,
it.
here it is. I mean, I could have, had I known that, I would have just
Purple water bottle.
mellowed it out a little bit. But since I didn't, you still looking good into that.
I'm just a reflection of you.
Okay. Well, thank you all for listening and joining in another Thursday night with us here on the Jaye Spot, IntellectualRadio.com, and iHeart Station. You all, please go to our Facebook fan page and like our page, the Jaye Spot. Also follow us on Twitter at Jaye Spot, and also follow us on Instagram at the Jaye Spot Radio. And Jay is spelled Jaye for all three. This episode of the Jaye Spot is being brought to you by State Farm, Darren Tillis' office, located 3830 West Roosevelt Road in Chicago. You can contact Darren Tillis at State Farm at 773-826-0766, 773-826-0766. Check Darren out for his investments. He's really good with that, investing in the stocks and the bonds and things like that. He can help you hook up your life insurance, get you a bundle package with your life insurance, homeowners, renters insurance, car insurance. He can hook you up with all that. Tell him that we sent you here at the Jaye Spot, referral code JAYE. Again, listening to Jaye Spot on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. We are going to do a recap from last week. Now, last week we talked about exes.
X Factor.
The X Factor. And you all, every time we leave this show, it's like always, it's a lot of stuff that always is brought to my remembrance, either via phone call or text message from someone that I have forgotten. And I'm like, well, it's certain chapters that you really do just want to really forget. And so, like, if I don't mention you, like, I'm for real, like, I've tried to block that part of my life out like it never happened.
That's a shame. That is a shame.
Sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes it, can work against you. But in this case, I mean, I thought about it, and I don't have any exes that are still a factor. And you guys asked me that if I got stranded or something, who would I call? And I thought about it, and I'm just like, Jesus, yes. And he tells me to keep that AAA card on you, keep your phone charged, keep you a couple of dollars. But you know what? The good thing these days is there's Uber and Lyft, baby. So let me tell you, won't he do it? Get the
won't he do it?
Up. Yes, he will. Just punch them little codes in. They can come anywhere. So, I'm thankful for that. So I don't have to have a dependable ex, even though it would be nice from time to time, because I am really scary about, like, certain things just freak me out, like all that rain and bugs and insects and stuff like that. It really does something to me. So it would be nice to call somebody and say, hey, could you come kill this for me? Or I heard something like when I lived in my house. Oh my God, I lived and above me in the attic, when those raccoons or squirrels or whatever got in there, let me tell you, it nearly drove me insane. But at that time, I had my ex sugar daddy. Lord, darn it. Now, see, that
Always
was
nice
the
to have
only,
one.
right. And it's like, I didn't realize, like, I called him for everything,
Mm.
everything. So he got somebody to go up there and patch the whole, it was lovely.
You ruined that one,
I
didn't you?
did. I really, I
Mm-mm.
really did. So, I mean, lesson learned is, sometimes you just have to give a few more hugs and,
Let them
I
pat
get,
your butt a little bit.
well, not the butt, because now that, I mean, it's only so far I can go with that.
Girl, you
And
know you look so good. I could just sop you up with a biscuit.
he was old enough to probably be saying that to me. But I wanted to know, like, we talked about friends. I mean, can you really, really be friends with your ex?
Yes. Yes.
How?
Cause you just have a mutual, when it ends, you end mutually. So there shouldn't be any arguing and I hate you. If it ends up like that, then y'all ain't gonna be friends. But if it's a mutual break, you understand that, okay, like my one ex, well, I got a couple of exes, but one of my exes, like we ended because his daughter felt that I was too young for him.
Oh.
So he was 24 years older than me, and I was younger than his daughter.
Oh.
Hey, Tyrone. And and he really wanted me to meet her and wanted me to meet his granddaughter and everything. And when he came by the house and it was just him, and I'm like, she didn't want you to bring your grandchild. He was like, nope, she feels that you're too young for me. And so he felt that, he's gonna go with what she decided, and we ended it.
I mean, she was right. 24 years.
Baby, bye. And we're still friends to this day. And he's so, like, the female he had, he got married after me. Oh, that lady drove him crazy.
Really?
His house got broken in by his
Uh-oh.
stepchildren's friends and stuff. They stole like everything. And like his father loved me, and his father had passed and left him some sentimental items and stuff. Them raggedy children stole the items and everything. The wife tried to get, his retirement money and everything. I said, see, you should have stuck with me. I wouldn't have done none of that stuff
Right.
to you. You already knew my children. He's like, shut up. So, but every year my tulips, they blossom every year in his garden. Since I've left, I've planted tulips like a year prior before I had left. And every year he makes sure that nobody bothers my tulips.
So now let me ask you this. Do you have an ex that you feel like you've never gotten over?
No,
No?
no, no.
You know what? I kind of do. And I thought about that question last week, and I'm just like, yeah, I kind of teetering, on the edge. It's nothing like really serious or really strong, but I'm like, when I thought of his name, I'm like, oh, hey, it was kind of like one of those. So I'm like, if things could have worked out, then, I definitely would have, still been there. But like I said, it's nothing deep that will be like, oh, she's trying to get all booed up. No, it's nothing like that. It was just a nice, tingly feeling, like when you drink the right cup of coffee and it's mixed with the cream just the way you like it.
I feel good down there. That's not a profanity.
Well, I didn't say it didn't reach. Okay, it didn't reach that far. Okay, it didn't. No, it really didn't. Okay. As I said, I need to keep.
Did he call you?
No, I don't know. I wouldn't answer the phone because it would no. Mm-mm.
Did you see him this past weekend?
No.
Not at the picnic, huh?
Oh,
family reunion.
I'm gonna not answer that question.
On the grounds that it may
right, incriminate me and get me in some trouble. Yeah, no, and I'm single and I could be getting in some trouble. You see that? But the thing is, it was a good thought, and it's like it's nothing bad. You know how just timing. Sometimes timing can just throw things off, but I feel like what's meant to be, it'll be. If it's not, then things will definitely go in the direction that it's supposed to go in.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that, like, if you having these exes and if you have feelings for somebody, and if the path is clear and it's okay, like they're available, you're available, and you get that little vibe, like you want to say something, say something.
Well, the saying is all fair in love and war. So if they're even attached and you vibing and they vibing. I mean, I've seen it where they will break up with their current girlfriend or
Mm.
boyfriend, or even the marriages. Oh my God. And they will get rekindled back with that old flame because they finally got that opportunity. They came back into their lives. They will drop it in a heartbeat.
See, now I don't know if I would want that type of karma in my
How is it
relationship
karma?
because you were with me. So if you did that to them to be with me, I would always have to sleep like this with one eye open, thinking that you may do the same thing to
So
me.
if he
If
left
they're
his,
not married, that's
even if he
one
was married,
thing.
say he was married or they're married, and they had saw you one day, they really expressed that they just really have not gotten over you. And you said the feeling was mutual, right? And then he was like, I'm married or whatever. And then you said, okay, well, I can't deal with you. But he said, I will divorce my wife because I really still love you.
See, I would have to go a no go because the selfish part of me is you've already. I don't want you to. I don't want to be robbed of that opportunity for us to, And maybe I live in fairyland because I'm known to live there and I'm okay. I'm a permanent resident there, but I kind of just want us to take that walk, a certain journey together, and that's just one of those things that I want us to do together for the first time. I want us to be.
It's some guys out there that have never been married and don't have any children and, are financially stable and everything. And, they have the same, wants as well.
Right. And then it's just
So
for
it's
like guys
possible.
that say that they don't want anybody with kids. And I'm like, here's the thing. I can respect that because that's what you want.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make you a bad person because you want to experience that for the first time with the person that you're going to marry or you want to be with. So
Hmm.
I'm like this. If I can dish it out, I'm going to be able to take it. But speaking of these kids, we are going to catapult right into what we're talking about today: blended families. Oh God, this is going to be a hot show tonight, you all. So let me just make sure my hair is together. If I'm slipping, y'all, please inbox E and let her know so I can fix myself because this could go either way. But we are going to take a short musical break, and when we return, we will be talking about blended families. Stay tuned. You're listening to the J Spot on
On
IntellectualRadio.com
intellectualradio.com
and
and
iHeartStation.
iHeartStation.
I got you. On the blocks of Broadway, to Wall Street and busy hallways. I got you. I got you. Through poverty and pain, baby, I got you. Ain't no shame. On the blocks of Broadway, to Wall Street and pissy hallways. I got you. I got you. And I'll be I never could get too far. That I lay my life down on the line. Down on the line. And baby, it takes I dropped down to my knees for you. Love's got a hold on me. I'm a slave, don't set me free. I'm a runaway running down Love Street. Your love's got a hold on me. I'm a slave, don't set me free. I'm a runaway running down Love Street. From the block to Broadway, to Wall Street and pissy hallways. I got you. I got you.
Welcome back to the Jaye Spot on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeartStation. I'm your host, Jay, and this royalty goddess right here is my co-host, my partner in crime, Simply E. And you all, we have
Deliciousness.
sexual chocolate up in the building. Ooh. And so we can do that up in here because this man, he got it.
He got it.
Mr. Mario Griffin, Mr. Stogie Life. Hello. How are you?
How you doing, ladies?
Good, and you? Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, you did.
I am winning. Mario, will you do me a favor? Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
all right. Let me switch seats with Eve. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me just.
I'm buttoning something.
Right. Wait a minute. Hold on. All right. We'll say that again.
No, that's right.
So, Mario, tell everybody about what you do. So, introduce yourself first and then tell everybody about what you do.
Okay, first off, I am the founder and CEO of Stogie Life Incorporated. Founded 2014. Like I said, it's incorporated with the state of Illinois. I've got no arms here.
No, you can do it.
We'll do it for you.
Okay. So far, coming in August, coming out with a Stogie Life Cigar Lounge.
Okay, cool.
I do the apparel. I do the cigars. Also, I do the various mixtapes with my group called the Aficionados.
Oh, cool.
Which is comprised of 6 DJs: DJ Jay Imani, DJ Doug, DJ. Also, DJ Superman, DJ Flawless, DJ Antoine Lowry, DJ Surprise Gross.
Okay.
So I'm trying to make a complete brand.
All right. Now, Mario, tell
DJs.
everybody how they can get in contact with you.
You can get in contact with me via Facebook, official Stogie Life business page. Also, you can look at my Instagram page, Stogie Life _ the brand.
And that's STOGIE.
I can't spell. That's why I didn't even get in with it.
I just wanted to see how my lip was gonna curl when I said GIE.
See how
G.
Woo-wee. Well, listen, today we are talking about blended families. What is a blended family? A blended family is a family that consists of a couple and their children from this relationship, the current relationship, and all previous relationships. Now, I did a little research. So, according to online survey and online site, over 13% or 29 million families are comprised of this blended family concept. That's a lot.
It is.
29 million parents, 13% of the population. And it also said that according to the same online source, that it's predicted that the blended family structure will become the predominant family type because of over 50% of first-time marriages, they end in divorce.
Yeah.
And then the second-time marriages, 75% of those end in divorce. So they're saying that basically in a few years, I mean, these kids, the original couples will cease to exist.
No, mine won't. My second time around, it'll be a blended because I have children, and whoever I marry, they may or they may not, either way go, and it won't end in a divorce.
How's it going to end?
It's going to be death.
I can't think you said that.
So, Mario, what's your status? Are you married, divorced? What's your status?
I am divorced. I was involved in the marriage for several years, which is a blended family. Have 2 kids of my own.
Mm-hmm.
She had 2 kids. It was kind of a difficult situation because of the past circumstances that by then, a long time ago, my ex-wife, that she was involved with, previous relationships, which kind of took a certain effect on the children.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm coming into the picture, new guy, dating the mom and stuff like that. So of course the children are going to be kind of like, okay,
Not
my mother's been
accepting.
through this before.
Yeah.
As well as the family, they might say something to the uncles, the aunts and stuff. Mom's dating this guy, and I'm not sure about him right now because I want my mom to hurt again.
Right.
Which is understood
Yeah.
in today's society right now. because that's not how I grew up. You know, my parents were married for years.
Blooper. Sorry, it's live. It's blooper. They like,
Uncut.
what happened?
Uncut.
We back. Oh, sorry for that. Like,
Oh, go ahead.
you got,
We
I'm
all-
sorry. We
It's
are
paused.
we are very serious here. Very serious. Okay, so with that, how difficult is it? Like, did the kids cause, like, do you think the kids are a big reason why these situations, these blended families, are somewhat difficult to?
To me, they have a huge influence
Mhm.
when it comes down to it, because of course, you know, whether you're coming into the relationship, it's kind of hard to say, but it's a huge impact on whatever the mother or the father's decision may be
Right.
ultimately in the relationship.
Mhm.
It could go either way. So it makes the person that's coming into the blended situation, you know, having to work much harder than originally anticipated, because you're dealing with a whole different, you know, element of children nowadays. You know, it's nothing like how, you know, I'm 41 years old. So it's nothing like how I was growing up, where you have a lot of families that, you know, fall through trial and error and were able to work certain situations out. But nowadays you have a lot of, you know, children that grew up from single mothers,
Right.
children as well, whereas they may not have been on, you know, dating the father or the mother, and may not have a long-term solution on the relationship. So, you know, like you all had that discussion earlier about exes, where it's like, you know, decide you want to step away, just step away. But when it comes down to children being in the picture,
Mm-hmm.
it plays a huge catch-22 per se.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, with children growing up nowadays, where they don't have like a stable father in the household,
Right.
you know, and then it's really a difficult situation to try to, you know, succeed in.
Now,
Anyone that's able to succeed in it, kudos to them, but it's a lot of work.
so now, what about you, E? I mean, do you have any experience with dealing with blended families?
Yeah, I was married. Yes. Even before my marriage, and I had like my older guy that I was he had a younger son besides, the older daughter and son. He had a younger son, and there was really no issue there because his younger son was around my children's ages, so we were all fine. But when I got married, my children are way younger than my stepchildren. And so the only problem, I think my stepdaughter, and she's a sweetheart, but I think there was resistance there. One of the stepdaughters, oh, no, she straight didn't like me, and I didn't care because I don't believe in disrespect to children. So
Right.
I didn't
That's
care.
true.
You ain't got to live in my household, so I really didn't care. But the set of twins, I mean, I'm cool with them to this day and stuff, so I didn't have an issue, even when my children, they called their step grandma, and they called, their uncles and them, uncle,
Right.
whatever, it wasn't, and they didn't feel awkwardness, whatever, when it came to my ex-husband or anything like that, because he just always embraced them since day one. So it kind of meshed pretty well.
So let me piggyback on the statement you just made with the disrespectful,
I don't do that.
the disrespectful kids. Like, how do you deal with that, especially like if you're getting married with someone, say if that child lived in your household, so this child lives in the household and clearly it's just,
I told him when I first met her, and we were at he has a business, so we were at his business, and she had popped up whatever, and she just basically ignored me and went over to her dad, and and I'm like, okay, and she didn't speak or anything. Even after she left, she still didn't speak. And I was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is before we got married. I said, if we ever get married, and if she has to come and stay in the house with us, I don't deal with disrespectful children. I will put my hands on her. And he was like, okay. So
I'm a firm believer. You don't have to like the adult per se, but you have to respect the adult.
right.
Other than that, you'll have a problem right off the bat.
So let me say this. You all don't judge me when I say this, because I dealt with a blended family growing up, and we were spawns from Satan. I mean, we were horrible. I mean, my sisters and my brothers, we were and unfortunately, I had been given the title as the ring leader, and that's really up for debate. Okay, I'm just gonna say that's really up for debate. But the things that we did and the stunts that we pulled, it to be honest, it got me to thinking like, oh man, when I had my son, I'm like, karma is gonna come back. I'm like, and this guy is like the male version of me. And I said, if I got, oh God, I'm like, it's gonna be World War III like every single day. When I tell you the man, he came in, it was 6 of us, and we were not his children.
That's and a strong man.
That's a strong man.
That's a strong black man. He's black man. That's a strong black man. We have to applaud him.
And he came in, and took care of 6 kids that were not his own. And as a result,
and y'all gave him heck. I can't say the other word.
Man, and as a result, of him being with us, his ex-wife did not let him, have a relationship with his biological kids. And we were not like that. Like with the kids, like we wanted them to come so we can all like gang up on him. Like, we just, it was just, it was bad. Mommy, if you are listening, yes, I'm like, he passed away, God rest his soul. But I was so thankful that I got a chance when I got older. I got a chance to make things right with him. I got a chance to tell him, you know what, at the time I did not understand what you were trying to do for us, but I appreciate it. I'm grown now. I have my own kid, and I'm like, man, all the stuff that we put you through, I'm sorry, but it was some funny stuff though, because he definitely was cut out for it, because he gave us a run for our money as well.
He wasn't going nowhere, huh?
Oh no, he wasn't going nowhere. Like he would take the doors off. I'm like, he took like he didn't let us right.
Y'all ain't get no privacy.
Right. It's like if we got mad and called ourselves slamming the door, oh my God, you will come home. There would be only door was left was the bathroom door. That was it. Every door in the house was sitting up against the wall. And it's like my mom, we like, Dad, aren't you going to say something? Because at one point she didn't believe that we were
that bad.
Yeah.
And then she found out.
Because nobody else, because we were really respectful kids until this man came into our lives. And it's just like, but we wasn't used to having that.
So did it get to the point y'all were territorial?
Because it's their mom.
We just, you know what? I just think that it was him. It's just like,
no, it wasn't. It was the fact that you had to share your mom.
Exactly.
You know what? Maybe that was, but it's like he made it so, like the stuff that he did, like it just made it.
Was
easy.
he mean to you?
No.
So, it was because you had to share your mom.
Now looking back, I can say no, he was not mean, but he was spiteful though, because he would tit for tat us. So like he would try to make our mom see that that you do have a litter full of demons, and so she didn't believe it. So what he would do is he would record. They used to have those little recorders.
Right.
I have one too.
Man, he recorded us one day.
I wish I had a couple of them.
And he played it for her one night. Now this is, we sleep, and this is when they still was beating you. We was all asleep.
I still beat.
Baby, she came in at 11 o'clock at night. And well, I'm just thankful that I made it.
And now you're here.
I'm just thankful that I made it. But experiencing that, it kind of made me leery on, do I want to go through this same thing? Because my son and I know how we were.
Right.
So I'm like, is there a chance that I can like escape that? So now that he's 18, I'm in the clear unless I get with somebody that has kids and then they do to me what we did. But I may have to just be like my stepfather was and just turn the tables like he did. Listen, I ain't going nowhere. But I want to ask, like, is it that serious? Like, I mean, do you have the endurance to deal with all this stuff, because sometimes, like you were saying beforehand, there's some things that the kids may have went through prior to, the new relationship. And if the parents don't take the time to address that issue, a lot of times I think that that's what causes a lot of the resistance in a new relationship, because a lot of parents fail to realize is, okay, you broke up with this person and you miss this person and you know how you feel about them, but what about your kids?
Exactly.
Like, they love this person, they miss this person, so they're going through the same thing.
Effect.
But then that's like you have the X factor, like we talked about last week. Like when the older guy that I was dealing with, I mean, my children loved him, and we still pop up and see him and stuff. We still are keeping communication. They still, get a chance to, won't get a chance to go over that much, but we will if he invites us over, or if I need something or whatever, or if they want to call him up, they do. So we still keep in communication and stuff. Even with my ex-husband, I have a child with him, so that's just regardless. He's gonna be there until he drop dead, cashing that policy. But to go back to what you were saying, when it comes to blended families, as you were growing up, like I had that because I stayed in the blended family growing up. My stepfather, our first stepfather, I love him. That's my heart. His son, he ain't gonna get me anyway because he locked up in prison. But he was pure evil, like literally, like he was way older than us, and all the girls were like, I think we had ranked 9 to 4, whatever. So it was only 4 girls, and my stepbrother was just. We went out to Florida one year for vacation, stayed in the Hyatt, and one of the Miami Hyatts have a connecting pool that'll connect both towers. We couldn't swim, but our stepbrother could, and our bigger brothers could. So my stepbrother was like, come on, I'll take you and we'll take you over. So we got on his back and he gets us, we can't swim, and drops us in the pool.
Wow.
And so my brothers, who are older than him, they saw what was going on. They was ready to jump him. They got us out the pool and they handled him. But he's that evil. And then a few years later, when we wound up moving down to Georgia, unfortunately, he broke into someone's house. The babysitter was watching their children or whatever. He killed the babysitter.
Oh, no.
And his evil behind is in prison to this day in Georgia, So that one, but his father, that's my heart. I love him. He was an excellent stepfather. I love him. The current one, that one could go somewhere. I have a current stepfather, that one right there. But even his children, I love my brothers and my stepbrothers and sisters from his children stuff. Oh, I love them. Love them. If I need to go to Louisiana for something, or if I need a place to crash in Louisiana, I got a place in Baton Rouge to crash at. I love them. They daddy, you can go somewhere.
Man,
pure evil.
It's rough.
But now, Mario, let me ask you this: with the blended families, do you think once you decide, okay, you're gonna get married,
right,
and the kids are in the household, your kids and her kids, and do you think that they should, with the other biological parents, they're still actively in the children's lives, should the children call the new parent mom or dad?
It comes with time and the comfort level. It all depends on relationship that they have with one another. If it's kind of like a rebellious tension going on in the household, I think that relationship will never develop. So long as the respect is there, you don't have to call me dad. You can call me Mr. Mario, something like that. As long as the respect is there, everything is fine, because I know calling me dad and calling your biological dad, it'll be kind of a difficult situation. You didn't ask for that.
Right.
So I try to be understanding, try to be more patient when it comes down to a situation like that. But other than that, I don't try to force the issue on anyone calling me dad.
What about you, E? Did you want them to call you mom, or would you?
No, don't call me mom, because don't do that. I'm not your mother. Because like my first set of stepchildren, I think that they thought that I wanted that, and I knew their mother had passed.
Right.
And I'm not her replacement. I'm here. I can be a friend to you, whatever. I can be a guidance to you, whatever. Even when I remember my stepdaughter, she was still, virgin and stuff, and she was grown, and we had talked, and she was talking about some boyfriend she liked, and I was like, girl, you're going to lose your virginity and you're going to be pregnant. I promise you. Please don't. He's going to tell you I love you and you're going to drop your drawers and you'll be pregnant. No, Edra, I won't. Okay. And I wanted to go on a vacation to Mississippi, stay down there for like a month or so. Came back. Baby, guess what? What? So-and-so pregnant. I told you. I called. I told you. She's like, I know, Edra, I know. But, he loves me. So it all depends. You can have a really great relationship with your stepchildren. Like I say, we're not even married anymore, and I still have a good relationship with them. But it can get creepy too. You can get grown stepchildren, and when you all divorce, your grown stepchildren, sons and stuff will be looking at you like eye candy, like, I always liked you.
Uh-oh.
And I had that situation. I was like, dude, it ain't even happening. You my child, And he was like, well, I always liked you. You always cook. Dude, if your daddy knew, oh, Jesus, I hope he's paying attention today.
Right,
but, I was like, are you serious? Because still, you are my child. I don't care how old you get. You will always be my child, period. And so I had to really stop communicating with him for him to get the point that we'll never be together.
So now, do you think that it's fair, or, would it make things better if, again, the scenario is the other parent, the other biological parent, they're actively involved in the child's life. However, the parent, the custodial parent, again, they decide to get married. However, the new husband wants to adopt the children and change their name.
No. Because if that father, if that father is active or whatever, one, you still got to get permission.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just regardless. And even if he's not active, or even if the mother's not active, if you ain't got their permission, it's not happening. And then still, I'm not going to allow my ex or my new guy or whatever, if we get married, these are your stepchildren. They can call you mister, they can call you your first name or whatever, and they'll respect you as their father. That's true indeed. But I'm not going to allow, you to take over that role, because that's not fair to them.
Mm-hmm.
You confuse your children when you do
Absolutely.
that. You're getting what you want. You're not catering to that child's needs, because you assume that they need this father. They need to call this man dad.
Right.
You don't know that unless you talk to your children. And then you need to talk to him, because he may not be necessarily wanting to do that either.
Mm-hmm.
That may just be a wish of your own. In the same way when it comes to women, she may not want to say, no, I want to adopt your children. I'm fine as being step whomever, or, Brenda, whatever you want to call me. So there has to be a communication there. I never made my children call my ex-husband daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them if they wanted to. And at that time, they were like 3 and 4, I think. And they was like, no. And they was comfortable with calling him by his first name.
Mm-hmm.
And I left it alone. I never pressured them. We had our own children. When we had our child together, he called him daddy from day one. The other children never jumped on a bandwagon and said, daddy, they never. They know their father.
Right.
And they know who he is and everything else. So I never wanted to confuse them or anything else, and how my ex-husband explained to them, y'all are so lucky, y'all have 2 fathers.
Right. Right.
So you have to open up communication with your children.
I think more or less it's basically up to the biological parent to provide that balance between both parties with the children and the stepfather or the stepmother that's coming into play. Because if they provide that balance and that open line communication, it'll make things way easier.
Okay.
But if they leave something out of context and don't want to really involve themselves with the relationship between the stepfather, stepmother, and the children, it's going to provide a disconnect, and it's going to cause a certain type of tension in the household.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas like if something were to really go wrong in the household, the comfort level is not there.
Right.
So the biological, by all means, have to provide that balance. They have to step up to the plate and provide that balance. But if it's not provided, there's going to be doomed from day one.
So now let me ask this, because we're tossing this term around, step. Do you guys think that term step parent, stepchild, does that create some type of division in the house? Like there will always be there'll always be a difference. There'll always be a slash because I'm the stepchild, I'm the stepmother, I'm the stepfather. Do you think the term step creates a division?
While I was married, I never referred to her children as my stepchildren.
Mm-hmm.
I just used step as the basis of the conversation.
Right.
But when it came down to it, while I was married, I never referred to them as, my stepkids, because it shows you're not trying to own up to the relationship.
Right.
And it caused the children in turn to feel a certain level of resentment towards you, because it's like, okay, this guy here is marrying my mom, but you still calling us stepchildren.
Right.
You're not trying to show ownership towards us. So.
And that's what I wanted to know. Like, what about for you, though? How do you feel about that?
Like when I got married and stuff, like I say, the first set of children, they're older. They were, dang, they're grown.
Right.
But when my stepdaughter first met me, the twins, she just gave me a big hug. And when we would go out, she would just call me Edra. And I told her, just call me Edra. I'm not a stepmom, she's too grown for me to be her stepmom, So there was, even with my children, they never called their stepfather, stepdad or whatever. And he never referred to them as my stepchildren. He would always say, these are my kids, these are my children.
Right.
Even before we had gotten married, anywhere we went, oh my God, I think it was like the first 2 weeks of our relationship and he had met the children. Oh my God. Yeah, these are my babies. And it's like, you sure? I thought you only had, no, these are mine too. So he never made them feel that you are not included, So you have to, if a person makes your children feel that way, then you need to let them alone, because that's a sign right there that when you do enter into a marriage, they're going to push your children to the side and they're going to keep you right there. And I've been through that.
Right.
Growing up, oh my God, we would eat after my parents ate and stuff. To this day, I call my stepfather Mr., so-and-so. And there is no level of respect. We have respect as far as we would speak and barely speak to one another. And that's about it. If he fell off a cliff, I wouldn't shed 2 tears, so we just have no love for one another, period. So you have to, I think, establish that in the beginning. If there is no love between your children and that step parent or whatever, you need to run for the board and leave that person alone.
So now, should the step parent per se, just for the sake of the conversation so that everybody can know what we're referring to, but should that other be allowed to discipline the children? Your children, like would they be allowed? I mean, because my thing is, if I trust you enough to marry you and you're around my child 24/7, I have to entrust you with that responsibility of being the parent, the disciplinarian. I have to entrust you with being all that. If I can't, I don't need to marry you.
Right. There has to be some kind of guidelines put in place when it comes down to it, because at one point where it's like, if you don't instill that at the beginning, what happens is that child gonna feel like you're just somebody in the house. They're not gonna respect you, but that respect level has to be administered in the start, because if it's not, that kid is gonna be running all over the situation, period.
Well, I think, I'm kind of on the fence with it. When I was married, he did discipline. And then I think when they got older, it was like, I don't mind as far as you start taking away things, but when it comes to you physically, whooping them like that at a certain age level, no, I can handle the girl and you handle my boy or whatever, But then you have to still monitor. I don't care if you do love this person and y'all are married or whatever, you still keep an eye, you still keep watch, because these are your children.
Right.
So sometimes that person may go out of hand. And I remember him saying to me, let me know if I ever go overboard when it comes to disciplining the children. And even when we had our own, he was like, let me know, because I may get frustrated, I may get upset sometimes. So let me know. And if I'm incorrect, check me.
Right.
And so you have to have that person that comes to you, because they know them better than you know them.
Right.
You know what you can deal with and what you can't deal with, So like you said, the level of respect has to be established first, but 2, that talk has to be in the beginning. It should be
later on down the line.
Exactly. In the little courtship phase, after y'all done got married, now you want to talk. No. Let's just unfold all the cards and show you what's what, what I can handle and what I can't. If you can't handle it or whatever, nice meeting you. Hopefully you'll be one of the X factors,
Right. And see, and what often happens is that I think a lot of times the parents disregard the signs that the kids are giving off. and they chalk it up to them being disrespectful or like they don't want to, give this other person a chance. But sometimes these kids be picking up because it's like, think about it. Sometimes some people get so wrapped up. You're just so in love. You're Google this, but you're not paying. You're blind. You're turning a blind eye to the fact that this woman or this man is really, truly mistreating your child. Like and these kids, and that's their way of saying that to you. They start acting out.
See, but then you should have been established a better relationship with your child. You got to talk to your children and let them know that you can come to me with anything. And regardless if I'm with this man or the way things are now with this woman or whatever, you are still my child.
Right.
And so if something is wrong, they should be able to trust in you and be able to come to you with that. Now, if they're not coming to you with that, then there's a problem with you because they don't trust you.
Absolutely. And oftentimes you definitely do see that. And it's like you on the outside. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation or witnessed this, but you're on the outside looking in and you see how this child is reacting to this other person. And it's just like, okay, this ain't normal. Like, how do you not see that the connection that should be there just as a mutual respect or a mutual tolerance, it's not there?
That's because you have, and it's mostly majority on females when that happens. You have females that are so afraid of raising these children on their own and stuff, and now I don't have a man again, that they will just ignore because they see the signs. Everybody sees what's going on. Your child, they'll ignore that for their own happiness.
Right.
And they don't realize that your happiness is really making sure that your children are safe and content. And if they're not safe and they're not content, they're going to give you pure hell because of what they're going through.
So now let me ask this, Mario. So should the step parent be allowed to give input on how you should raise your child with the biological parent? So say the child is not physically in the home, they're with the other parent.
Okay.
Should the new spouse be able to give you input on how to handle that situation over there with?
It could be entertained because for the most part, with the children nowadays, the stepfather or the stepmother, whatever the case may be, they may discipline their children differently from the way you may discipline your children. So they may indicate something like, if you feel like, let's say for instance, like if we're married and I see your son or whatever, he's treating you a certain type of way, I'll step in and I'll be like, hey, we need to talk for a minute. I feel that he's disrespecting you in this manner and stuff like that. I said, because my daughter's not going to disrespect you like that, because this is what I administered with my daughter beforehand. So it may work for you. It's just my opinion. I mean, you can take it how you want to, but I'm not going to step in and try to, be a forceful father or try to be something that I'm not now to your son.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't want him to disrespect you being my wife.
Right.
So these are steps I think you should take as far as discussing certain things with him.
So now, how do you prevent playing favoritism amongst the children, the biological children versus the stepchildren? Like, you all have children together, but then your biological children live somewhere else and they only come for the weekend. And so they're raised under different guidelines, so to speak, because they're only with the new couple basically the weekends. How do you prevent from playing favoritism?
When you do something together, you're supposed to include everybody.
Right.
That's the only way it can work. You can't say like, okay, I'm going with, my stepkids this day. I'm going to go with my other kids this day. If you want everything to work, if you want a peaceful household, you got to put everything together.
Okay, let me give you an example.
Okay.
My mama said I could have a cell phone, so her mama go about her cell phone, but the rest of the kids don't have cell phones. So when she comes with her little cell phone, and you take the phone, because in my house, the kids ain't allowed to have no cell phones. She go back home and tell her mama. Now it's some stuff. So mama like, that's her phone. I bought that phone for her. You can't take, situations like that.
Right.
If it's that, crap, stuff like that. And I've seen, oh my God, stuff like that. She'll get over it. I'm going to take your phone. I'll probably drive over to your mama's house and give it back to her and let her know, listen, if she need to use the phone, we got a house phone. Right. Here's the number. But there are no cell phones allowed or whatever, period. If I don't want my children to have a cell phone or whatever, then they're not going to have a cell phone. If you want your child to have a cell phone, wonderful. But guess what? Since you don't pay the rent at 4:15, your child, when she comes into 4:15, cannot bring her cell phone with her. And she'll be okay.
And so then what, because now that it sounds good, but the reality of it is that's going to cause a problem, because now the daughter not gonna want to come back. She not gonna want to come because y'all too mean and you too this and you too that, because she's living,
Then you know what? But this is what parents don't get. Your children, if they're under 18 and they still living in your household, they don't have a choice.
Amen.
I'm sorry. I don't care if you don't want to come back. I birthed you. You don't have a choice. I didn't want to have you. Shit. Like I be telling people, you should have been swallowed or something. You should have hit the wall or something. But guess what? You didn't. So you're here. And guess what? This is my rules. And as long as I got breath in this body, you will always be my child. That's simply hello. But everything is real. You're not going to run anything in my household. I don't run nothing in my mama's household. She will always be my mother. And that's that. Even my stepfather, that's a different story. But my stepfather that's in Georgia, and that's my heart. I don't run nothing in his household.
Right.
He will always be my stepfather. And even my biological, when he was a living, regardless, he will always be my father. He didn't have to have me. He could have put a condom on. My mother could have aborted me.
Right.
So you got to make sure that you make these children respect you and respect other adults as well, but also know that they can confide in you if something is going on, and make sure that they don't bull mess you.
Right.
That's the one thing. But you ain't gonna bring no crap to me talking about what you don't want and what you can't have. Bye.
So now let's talk about the kids that create the chaos. Like, okay, they're coming over for the weekend, but every time they leave, your house is in an uproar because they are bringing just so much crap. Now it's starting to rub off on the kids that are in the house. What's a good way to handle that? How do you diffuse a situation like that?
Talk to the other parent, and if it don't work, they're not allowed to come over. If you put my house in disarray and you rubbing off on the other kids, it's not gonna work.
I got it. I got you. I can fix that issue. That means that when you come over, it's family time. That's what we're going to do, because clearly you need to be monitored. So we're going to have family movie night. We're going to have family game night, because I can't leave you alone with my children. So that's okay. I got a trick for you. And I don't sleep much anyway. So yeah, I'm going to be more woke than you are. So okay with this. I'm going to feed you real good. And when it's time for me to get in the kitchen, you're going to come in the kitchen with me, because you're going to assist me in the kitchen. I got a trick for you. I'm smarter than you.
Right.
And that's what these children, and a lot of parents, I don't know why, they really believe that their child is smarter than them. No, you're smarter than your child. Right. Outsmart your child. Don't stop them from coming over. No, you can come over. I want you to come over. I'll come get you. I want you.
Ain't good.
That's okay. Smoke a little something. I can get you. Come on over. I got a lot of stuff that we can do together. And then I'm a fun person, so I love paintballing and stuff. Right. And all the children. I have even my exes out there together with me, and we paintball.
I'm scared of you.
I know. I have a ball. I enjoy myself. We go to Six Flags. I mean, we do a lot of family activities and stuff. I remember when I was married, Sundays, like one Sunday at the month, that was game day.
Right.
We had Sorry, we had Monopoly, we had everything imaginable, and we would that was it. Or we would lock everybody down and we would watch movies all day. And we would watch mainly historically Black movies and stuff, or documentaries, whatever, but that was what we did. But you don't let your child run, or your stepchild or whomever. They ain't running nothing.
So now, which brings me to my next question. So if the children don't get along, and it's just like you are trying to have some peace, you're just trying to find some common ground, they just cannot get it together with this person, is it a good idea to marry that person?
I need to know why you're not getting along.
It's just sometimes it's just gonna be, it is what it is. Like, we just not gonna, and sometimes you will never get to the root of that problem, like for us, until years later, because you don't even know, hey, we didn't know it was crazy, just be crazy. But you growing up, getting older, you're like, dang, I was wrong. Like, just
but
but it was all these years later though that we realize that.
But y'all did things intentionally
Yeah.
to that person. That's different from just not getting along with the person. So it's not that y'all are just not going to get along. Either he's intentionally separating you all from, mom or whatever, or the girlfriend and new wife is separating dad from, the children, or the children are just outright being mean. But there's not but that's dealing with that parent though. He has to establish that, and she has to establish that, listen, I'm seeing this person, it may get serious. If it does get serious, let me know what you think. You have to include your children on your decisions on who your spouse is going to be.
Right, I agree.
That can't just be your own thing.
But once you see and you've had that conversation, because those conversations do take place, but at that point it goes from like the combustion. It's like, and every time it's like, is it really worth dealing with this? Like, you come home from a hard day's work. God, I know when I walk through the door, somebody's gonna have something to say. Something has happened.
Well, you know what? I love this quote that the minister says, and it's a lecture he does. After difficulty comes the ease. The hardest thing you had to deal with in your life, one, was getting out of the womb. That was the most difficult struggle, period. So anything else after that, you can handle it. Right. So just because I come home and my house is disarray and you work on my nerves and these children work on my nerves and these children don't belong to me, no, I'm going to check you. I'm going to check these children. And we're going to get this together, because you don't get married to get divorced. Right. That just is not an option, really. Some things may occur that you have to get divorced, and that's understandable. But just because you all don't get along, then you all need to seek some type of counseling or whatever to come to a common medium. You just don't give up just because they don't like you. That's not a good reason to give up on a marriage.
What about for you, Mario? Is there like something that you think that would that be a good idea for a person to go through with a marriage that, these kids, it's just like, it's not working. Like, we've been at this for over a year and it's just a constant war all the time. Is it a good idea to proceed with marriage?
It will make it difficult because you have to meet a common ground and you have to work on it. And if both partners are committed to it, then there's a way to work it out. But if one of the partners they're not willing to put forth an effort, I believe in both partners giving 100. There's no such thing as 50-50, no 70-30, anything like that. It has to be 100 all the way through. And even if they're like at 97%, that's not enough to get it over the hump. Right. You need to get over that hump to make it happen the correct way.
Well, this has been a very interesting conversation, and I hope that this has helped somebody. So if you are in a blended family, or if you are entering into a blended family and there's some resistance from the children, sit down, have some conversations, and just try to figure out if there's really something going on, and maybe, step out and get some professional help, because a lot of times there are some underlying issues. And I did a research, and there was another study that says more 3 children that are in blended families, they are 3 times more likely to need some type of psychological counseling, because it's like all of these changes that are going on. So I think that a child that has not been adapted to the original or the biological parents, they may adjust a little bit more easily. But for these blended families and the other kids, they know their parents, you may want to seek some professional counseling and just talk to somebody and see if, you guys are really proceeding in the right direction, or if there is really truly a problem. But you all have been listening to the Jaye Spot on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. We are out.
Peace.
Thank you.
Good night, groups.
He's
cutting off our mic. Did he cut
on
it off?
IntellectualRadio.com.